So you've seen Bessboro Mother and Baby Institute in the news, but don't know what's going on? Come cover racist graffiti in Galway with me as we talk about it. Last week, permission was granted for the development of 106 apartments at the former Bessboro Mother and Baby Institute site by Coimisiún Pleanála. The decision was made without access to all relevant records and without the benefit of modern technology being used to survey these grounds extensive, according to TD Ivana Basic. Why does this matter? In Ireland, the Magdalene Laundries and Mother and Baby institutions were architectures of containment, serving to incarcerate women deemed immoral, but while active, were most associated with sex workers. In reality, the majority of inmates were unmarried, vulnerable women and girls, not dissimilar to baby farms, where babies were sold and trafficked across and out of Ireland. Many of these women and girls, and I say girls because 5% of recorded inmates at Bessboro were under 17, were told their babies had died, when in fact the nuns took them and sold them. Many women and girls, and babies further, died within these walls. We don't have any kind of accurate numbers because the Irish government to this day has not made any significant attempt to compel the religious orders or the church to release documents and open archives to the public. That being said, there is an archive being developed as of 2024, but there is still no sign of the documents or archival materials of the 4 religious institutions associated with the Magdalene institutions. In 2013, Ireland finally admitted state collusion in Magdalene institutes and the enslavement of women, but have further refused to even attempt to compel the religious orders to pay any form of compensation to survivors or their families. In fact, while the 2002 indemnity deal capped financial liability of 18 Catholic organisations at €128 million in exchange for church contribution to a compensation fund, dealt specifically with survivors of industrial and reformatory schools, advocacy groups continually challenge the government on the fact that this has essentially covered the Magdalene and Mother and Baby Institutes as well, despite the lack of legal coverage through the 2002 deal. Additionally, those 18 organisations did not end up financially contributing to the fund, thereby not meeting the deal's requirements. The 4 organisations that ran the Magdalene Institutes and Mother and Baby Institutes, all rather ironically named, were the Sisters of Mercy, the Sisters of Charity, the Good Shepherd Sisters, and the Sisters of Our Lady's Charity. And they have refused to contribute to the state's compensation fund in any regard. Despite the state accepting responsibility, the state told UN Commission Against Torture in 2023 it knew of no factual evidence to support allegations of systematic torture or ill treatment of a criminal nature. This is bullshit, plainly speaking. First, among survivor experiences, as documented by the McAleese report, were involuntary detention, being given no information about why they were held or when they might be released, being stripped of their identities, forced to work constantly and unpaid, denied contact with the outside world, subjected to humiliating and degrading punishments, subjected to routine verbal denigration, denied education, gender-based discrimination, and being buried in unmarked graves, sometimes without their deaths being registered. Second, at least 26.5% of admissions were recorded or made by state actors, including the courts and the Gardaí. Third, the state legislated for the use of laundries as a place of detention, both social and legal. Fourth, the state had numerous laundry contacts with them. On October 15, 2024, the Irish government agreed to place statutory obligations on the private holders of record concerning Ireland's 20th century institutional and family separation system, but very little has effectively happened since then in the way of positive change. Instead, last week, Coimisiún Pleanála granted Estuary View Enterprises permission to build apartments at a site where over 923 children were disappeared from and are believed to be buried. TD Holly Kearns read in the Dáil on Tuesday that from the information available, there is no evidence that there are unrecorded burials in the area proposed for the subject development, but pointed out the lack of records and that there has never been a comprehensive survey of the site to try and find out if children were buried there, despite survivors long calling for an excavation. Additionally, this contrasted with the report from the Commission of Investigation into Mother and Baby Institute, which said it was, quote, highly likely that burials took place on the grounds. Despite this contradiction, there was no comprehensive survey, no ground-penetrating radars were used, no excavations were even discussed. Instead, planning permission was granted to build apartments over the unmarked graves of disappeared children. The only limitation Coimisiún Pleanála gave was that only 106 apartments could be built as opposed to the proposed 140, which is clearly just so much less painful for the survivors that 34 less apartments will be built on the bones of their relatives. If you are available, please come to the Cork Grand Parade on July 18th to protest this decision at 2:30 outside the Cork City Library. Go follow Babies of Bessboro and Carmel Cantwell to learn more, and share this video so people can learn more about this absolute barbarity by the government. I'm Elliot, the Alt-Irish historian, and I'll be doing more in-depth videos on the history of Bessboro Mother and Baby Institute over the next few days, so follow along for that.